Welcome, everyone. This is the succession planning workshop made by REFB in partnership with the City of Somerville. Here, we are going to explore what is succession planning, some caveats of what it includes, some types of succession planning, and how to prepare for it. So this is the content for our workshop today. As I mentioned, why succession planning matters, setting goals for that succession, assessing business readiness, some options of that succession, preparing for the transition that involves a succession, and eventually at the last resort that it's hopefully the last one that you could, the one that you won't use, and is the closure or liquidation of your business. And finally, some Q&A for people that are or might be joining at some point in the call. As I mentioned, the objective is to explore how we ensure our business continuity and how to get ready to step away from the business as a business owner. This is useful also to have an objective of determining your goals and your exit plan, assessing that business readiness, evaluate your options as succession, and then do your transition planning for eventually exiting the company. So why succession planning matters? As a business owner, you'll always be like struggling on why it's overwhelming, thinking on when are you going to leave your business, or it feels maybe so far off that you won't think it that much. But succession planning is really important because it allows you to, if that's the case for your ideal, to keep your business continuity, to keep your business thriving after you leave. This can happen a lot if you have a legacy business that has been on the area, in this case, the City of Somerville, for a long time, and you want to leave that business to be part of the community and what it involves to be the City of Somerville, also to provide stability to your employees, customers, and other suppliers from the area. Secondly, you can have better financial security, maximizing those returns that you could expect to get after working in a business for that long. And also it creates a financial structure that could help you to retire or exit your business in the best way possible. Third, as I was mentioning and related to the business continuity, is having a legacy protection. So it protects your business from keeping culture and values that are part of or essential part of your business, and maintains your impact into the community. And finally, and the most important of all, is it gives you peace of mind. At the end, this feeling of being so far off on leaving your business or being worried on if I am retiring next year, what I have to do, having a succession planning, it's really important to have peace of mind on those aspects. We are going to start by not why succession planning matters, but like how to set up those goals for succession. When you're looking into succession, you can have three broader aspects or three broader goals for this succession: your personal goals, financial goals, or legacy goals. In personal goals, you might think on, I'm going to retire fully, or do I want to keep involved in my business, but maybe not that much, being apart from your operation, being not part of the day-to-day basis, but maybe laying back a little bit, let some others do the hard work in a sense, but then running it or being on the back end of your business. Financial goal, maybe you just want to retire, maybe have a large sum that will pay for all your business, or in another way, have a structured planning for acquiring those payments in like in monthly statements or other ways that could give you like that cash flow for your retirement. And finally, as I was mentioning before, legacy goals. If you want to maintain your business and preserve culture and focus on growth for that business after you're leaving, those are the three types of goals that could be part of your succession planning, and that could determine how are you going to make that succession and what you need to prepare for in order for that to happen. Now, having those goals ready or those goals in mind, you have to assess if your business is ready for actually doing that succession. That involves taking into account your financial stability. So you take a look at your financial statements, your revenues, your profitability, cash flow, all other type of financial metrics to see how is your business today. And if you have maybe a financial goal, to assess if that goal can be achievable at this point. That's why these goals can be and should be set up, and your business plan should be set up maybe between 5 or 10 years before you're going to actually exit or do a succession, so you can have enough time to get closer to those goals by the moment that you're doing that succession. Secondly, your customer relationships, you have to validate if those relationships with your customers are strong enough for the moment that you are leaving. As most of the times, these small businesses are also the face of the business itself. Maybe your customers are tied to what it represents to be doing business with you. So having your customer relationships really strong, understanding them, and how they can get ready for your eventual exit is also really important to see if your business is ready to your actual exit as an owner. The legal structure is clearly part of what involves to exit a business. Is not always the funnest the funnest part, but it's part of what you need to understand, how your legal structure is managed and how your tax structure is going to be impacted in a sense when you're going to exit your business and leave it to someone else. The documented processes is something that maybe as a small business owner, you don't always take into account, but it's really essential for you to take into account that all the processes that you're doing on your day-to-day basis that can be just natural for you right now, those processes is better to have them documented. This gives also a stronger perception of your business, the organization that you have for it, and it could be something that can be more appealing for someone to buy your business, as they won't need you in a sense to fulfill what you have been doing successfully for all those years. And finally, and not least important, but the leadership pipeline. So identifying and developing internal candidates, if that's the case, who can set up and lead your company before you are exiting. Another succession options, or like after having this into account, there comes the succession options. Succession options for your business planning and how you're going to exit. So there are three broader aspects of these successions. The first one is employee ownership, management buyout that is related to the employee ownership, and finally, a third-party sale. All these succession options can have a caveat or an additional caveat that is like when family is involved in this succession. This is only an additional aspect that could make it a little bit tricky at some point, but it's not something that makes us believe that you need to do a different type of succession planning or a different type of succession. So employee ownership is when employees themselves are being owned or own the company at some point. So that involves employee stock option plans, cooperatives, or even trusts to let those employees become the owners of the business. This usually helps to preserve a little bit the culture and keep like the governance structure that your business has. Secondly, management buyout is related to employee ownership, but it gives a little bit of a different aspect, as is management of your business, which is going to purchase the business. This also can ensure like leadership continuity and a smoother transition, as those managers usually can learn or know how to manage the business once you leave. And finally, and maybe the most common one, is the third-party sales, is basically having some competitors, investors, or entrepreneurs, third parties, even family members, distant family members, that will go and buy your business. This is usually tied more with a financial return, but clearly at some point it can affect or not taking into account the operation that you have been building when they are buying those businesses. So for the employee ownership models, as I mentioned, there's the employee stock option plan. Basically, this works as employees gaining shares through a trust, and the company funds this buyout through different like profit or loans, and there's a gradual owner or employee payout. This pays the owner at the exit of the business, but it's something that is subsequently being done by this loan that it's paying in some time those shares for buying the business. There's the worker cooperative, that is when employees collectively purchase the business, and it requires like the full employee buy-in for this type of succession planning. The employees or owners receive profits while they are still working. These cooperatives have like more complex structure in a sense of how they are managed in the day-to-day basis, as it can require like voting from all of them or most of them. It has some additional caveats that could make it a little bit harder on the operation. Employee ownership trust, as you might know, a trust, you can build it almost for whatever you like. It depends on how you assemble it. But basically for this type of succession planning, the trust holds the ownership for those employee benefits. So the trustees govern on behalf of the employees. They manage all the like corporate and managerial decisions, and it's structured to pay out based on the profitability of the business itself. So employees receive a profit, but not actual ownership. That can also be beneficial in some point if maybe you have a high rotation, or at some point you don't want to be owner, just getting maybe the benefits of being part of the business. And fourthly, but not less important, the management buyout, as I was mentioning, the management team purchase the business. Either way, ensuring like leadership and continuing like that ownership trend that was with the company. And it's mostly for businesses that have a strong leadership and capable management that are willing and able to make this purchase. Other aspects of this employee ownership, as have been like mentioning all abroad, is the leadership continuity. It ensures or looks to ensure a smooth operational transition with kind of a familiar leadership, because you already know like who is inside the business and who will take up those business operations. The financing options, as I was mentioning, the ESOP and the other like type of employee ownership may require bank loans, even like private equity if it comes to be the case, or seller financing. As a business owner, you can offer financing to those eventual buyers. So you can have either like subsequent payments for getting your business to be purchased, or other type of deals that could help you to also sell your business in a sense. The ownership transfer, the management team or the employees are the purchases of this business from the owner. This is involved in all of the employee ownership options that I mentioned. And family integration is the final like caveat or other aspect of this employee ownership. As I was mentioning, it's just an additional characteristic that could be involved in this type of succession plan. Now the selling to a third-party buyer. These can involve the strategic buyers, financial buyers, individual buyers, and finally the family succession. That is another and the final like caveat that we could have. The strategic buyers means competitors, suppliers, or other industry leaders are looking to integrate your business into their structure because they see value in buying your business. Financial buyers could be more like private equity firms or other investors that are focused on the profitability, on your business and the investment potential that they find in your business as a whole. And individual buyers can be someone just interested, or some executives that are wanting to operate an established business. That is happening a lot right now with the wealth transfer from the baby boomers to other generations. And family succession, as I mentioned, is just having a family member as part of that succession planning or succession potential buyer that could buy your business. So now that you have found your buyer with all of these characteristics or all of these type of successors, what price are you giving them? There comes the part where valuation comes really, really relevant. Valuation helps basically to ensure that it's a first transition, maximizing your business worth. So to maximize this value, the business has to be in the best operational efficiency, reducing the necessary cost, and having an appealing profitability for those potential buyers, either investors or employees or management or even your family. So you have to understand really strongly what is the true business value. This can be assessed by your financial performance, how many assets or what assets do you have, the market positioning, and the help of other professionals, accountants, or evaluators to determine your valuation. In this sense, for doing that valuation, you have to organize your financial records. This means your financial statements, profit and loss reports, like all that financial information should be the base for your valuation. So you have to be really organized in getting those financial records from, 3-5 years to start measuring how much your business is worth. Exploring funding strategies, as I have mentioned a little bit in between, bank loans, seller financing, or other type of loans that could help understand how those potential buyers are going to buy your business. And finally, and really important, is to start to engage with local valuation experts. You can consult with other certified business appraisers, CPAs, and other business brokers, a way to understand how much is your business worth today and how much it could be worth in the future. Some examples, doing a little bit of research in the Somerville area could be Costello Tax Associates, Boston Valuation Services, KLR, or Capstone Partners. But there's a lot of other options for valuators of businesses that can help you in this process. Now that you have everything assembled, you have also to prepare for a transition, finding the buyer, knowing your purchase value or like the selling value. Now you have to prepare for that transition when you're leaving your business. It has like four big steps. First is the leadership development, that is basically training your successors between 1 or 3 years before the exit. It requires some time to prepare them and mentor them to acquire those responsibilities and understanding them, developing like a roadmap for them. Second is, in that same sense, the knowledge transfer, the documented processes that I was mentioning, the relationships with the specific customer suppliers, and share that institutional knowledge for or business secrets in a sense, as a key for the future successors in the business. Third, the stakeholder communication. It's really important to have clear communication with the eventual employees that are going to stay in the company, but also your external stakeholders. Develop communication for customers, vendors, your community as a whole. Will manage those expectations and address concerns that they may have when you are leaving your business. Finally, the legal and financial planning, as I was mentioning, always get involved with your lawyer and your tax advisor for this type of transition, as it will help you to complete your due diligence and valuation, and assemble everything so you can have a clear transition for your exit. Finally, a liquidation and closure, that it will be the last resort, hopefully, for your business, and it will include some of the other aspects that we have mentioned in the other succession options. It requires a business valuation to assess what assets you have, your liabilities, also understanding your employees, because there needs to be employee transition. So you have to plan for your employees to know where are they going after the business is going to close, if there is any severance and support that you could bring them or should bring them. The legal dissolution, that requires another whole set of documents and procedures. And finally, debt settlement, if that comes to be the case, negotiated with creditors. So in this aspect, the closure and liquidation, we recommend that you have also your lawyer and your accountant or tax advisor outside and close to you to understand how it should be done, and follow every step that the regulation requires for you to do this in the best way possible. Well, this is like the end of the formal workshop of succession planning. I imagine that we could have other questions at this point. I think I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but Afruza, I don't know if you have some other questions of what you heard so far. I don't know at which point you came in, but I would love to hear, like, in what step of this succession planning, if any, you are in, or what draw your attention from what I just explained.
Hi, my name is Afruza. I joined, I think, a couple of minutes later when you were giving the introduction. I joined at the time. I live in Somerville. My business locally in Somerville, and it's not I want to start a business. It's not. I don't have any kitchen or any legit business out there yet, but I want to do catering. I have catering menu established. I start working with Enable program. The program is from the city. I was with them for 2.5 years, selling my product out there from their kitchen. And it was successful. So I built a catering menu that I want to do in future. Or now I'm doing a little bit of farmers market, some of the events
Okay.
Yeah, basically that's it.
Okay, great. I mean, just starting is also good to, I mean, not to start to consider this, but at some point understanding that at some point when you want to exit or you want to do a succession of your business, like maybe some stuff to take into account. But I hope that it has been like clear, or I don't know if you have like any question that we could answer at this point, even if you're just starting your business, any other question that you might have about this topic. And also invite you. I think Kelly might share it later, but we have a business planning workshop upcoming with the city of Somerville as well. So you can also go there and learn some more from our workshops there.
Yeah, absolutely. I will take there is another one upcoming.
Yeah, there's the artificial intelligence workshop upcoming, Fruza, and we have your contact. So I can make sure that you get the information for that. I know that that was touched upon in a different workshop that you had attended, so might be good to kind of expand that topic
Right.
more. The business planning workshop is in Spanish. And I don't believe you're a Spanish speaker, so
No, I don't. I don't understand Spanish.
yeah, but we can, I mean, we're in contact, and, you know, but we definitely understand like your situation and what you're going through. Are there any questions about, succession planning or like even like entity creation that you might have, that, Juan could answer or try to answer at this moment?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything in mind particularly onto that, but as you heard me before in other meetings that I'm going through is trying to find a kitchen.
Okay.
And other questions that I face, like texting, like after a year, or what is the best way? Mm. Also, what is the best
Yeah.
way to start looking for a business, looking for a space, starting in a with a small amount of money, not a large. Uh,
Yeah,
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 these
there's like
kind of questions.
initial, yeah,
These kind of questions
definitely,
because I when I started, so that's why these kind of questions attracts me for now.
certainly. Um, Well, I don't know then, if it's about this topic in particular. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.
Yeah.